All right, welcome everyone. My name is Karen and I'm the host for our interactive webinars. Today's theme is Find Your Perfect Learning Fit at MIU. We're going to be talking about the online experience, the on-campus experience, and also we'll be hearing from students talking about combining both of those experiences. So if you're here, you're likely already expressed interest in one of our degree programs, undergraduate or graduate. So we want to welcome you here. And just so you know, closed captioning is available. So click CC on your screen if you want that option. All right, so as we get underway here, I'm going to give some context for our university. And if you've been on our homepage already, you've likely noticed that it's a very unusual way of representing a university. You see a lot of aspects here that define a way of living, a set of value systems, fresh organic meals, natural health and wellness, transcendental meditation, self-knowledge and inner growth, and of course, maybe more university-related things like immersive learning and a university culture with heart. But just to give you some context, this university is based in Fairfield, Iowa, and really formed around an intentional community that valued meditating together as a group. So if you've ever looked up the Maharishi effect, there are a lot of research studies on the effect nationally or even locally of groups of people meditating together in the same lifestyle. And there were also very young meditators in their 20s at that time who were very excited about a whole different kind of education. Some of them actually came from Ivy League background, but really wanted to start a whole different kind of university, a consciousness-based education model that really honored and supported self-development, primarily using transcendental meditation, but there were also other advanced techniques. And along the way, of course, that naturally lent itself towards a very holistic mindset, valuing things like eating well, eating organic. So if you were to walk into our cafeteria, you would be enjoying fresh food cooked daily, no canned or frozen food. We have started serving chicken and eggs, but there's also still one cafeteria dedicated to fully vegetarian. All right, so as we get underway here, I just wanted to connect with our prospective students. I'd like to know what your name is. Well, you don't have to share, but I'd like to know where you're connecting from. And if you're here with an interest towards online or on campus, we'd love to know why you're here. And as we begin our conversation, we'll make sure to include you in it so that we can make sure that our panelists are addressing specific questions you might have. So you can use the chat function. And as you do so, I'm going to also cover some more essential points about our university. For example, we are accredited nonprofit university accredited by the Higher Learning Commission. Financial aid is available. You can complete your FAFSA. And you can use the financial aid calculator. Only takes a few seconds and it can give you an estimate of how much you qualify for. Please ask questions. We have a live Q&A chat function. You can put your questions in there, and then we have a admissions counselor who will be attending to the chat. You could also put questions into the general chat line, and we'll make sure to address them. Let me just see. Zeta, welcome. Connecting from Puerto Rico, or I don't know where you're connecting from, but anyway, from there, and you're interested in the MFA in visual arts, awesome. Hi, Brad from Dudley, Massachusetts, and Helen from California, looking at the online program. Cool, okay. Brandy looking to enroll in April. All right. So that must be online undergraduate then. Ty from Las Vegas. Matthew from Uganda. Hi, Matthew. Where are you hailing from today? Okay. Ty Parker, BFA in art. Shannon from California, interested in online learning. Is it Matthew? Finished high school and I'm want to enroll for computer. Okay, it must be computer science. Cool. Yes. Okay, cool. All right. Just want to know that there are real live people in there. It's so much more interesting to talk to real live people. So today's webinar, we will discuss the online experience, the on-campus experience in a hybrid option. And we have 4 students. They all have very different ways of interacting with these 2 types of learning. So it'll be great to see how they've navigated both experiences. Okay, so that takes us to meeting our panelists. So I'm going to stop the slide deck and ask all of our panelists to turn on their videos, and I'll introduce you to them. So we have like all different models going on. So we've got Catherine, she was like all online and then actually moved to Fairfield, Iowa after the degree. Rockwell represents on campus mostly because it's sustainable living, I think. So that requires really hands-on learning. Muna is like on campus, but has experienced the online. And Donna, are you here? My screen is not showing.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just not able to turn on my video.
Oh, okay. I mean, we'll have to attend to that. And then Teresa is admissions counselor. So she has some perspective from that office, like what are the trends? And then Professor Amin Quider is representing, well, usually the Department of Cinematic Arts and New Media, but Amin's really familiar with heading up the trend on this more hybrid model. So supporting where students naturally want to go and then customizing his degree program to follow the trends. So I just wanted to explain that we started off on campus and then the pandemic really caused this full online. And then it's like most of our students are online now. So let's try to capture everyone's experience. And I think we're going to start with Catherine because you're all online and we want to know what that was like and how you fit that into your lifestyle. What did that look like? And what was the learning like? So welcome, Catherine.
So much for having me. Yeah, I'm really to be here and I'm happy to share about my really amazing experience online at MU. um, it started, I knew that I wanted to continue on and get an advanced degree, but I had not finished my undergraduate. And I had many options. I had heard of MIU years before I'd visited the campus and was really intrigued by what was happening there. I knew it was unique. And I called my mom in a storm of confusion, wondering what I should do. And she told me the time's going to go either way. And in a few years, you could have your degree if you start. And it was the best advice. So if you don't have someone telling you something like that in your life, you can listen to my mom. And I think it's good advice. I dove right in. I studied entirely online. And it was perfect for me because I got to continue living my life the way that I had been living. I was working, didn't have to pick up and move across the country. I was in Colorado at the time. And the schedule was really incredibly flexible and adaptable. All of the courses offered interactive components, webinars, but I was able to take all of the learning at my own pace. Each week, all of the material would become available. I could do it on Monday morning or Friday night, and then join my classmates in a webinar on the weekend and get that sort of interactive learning space that was really important to me.
That's probably good because later on I'm going to have you speak about, integrating travel. And I think that could be a nice topic later, especially because Rock is considering senior project traveling. So, but that gives us a sense of online and we'll come back to you for sure. Let's see, was there anybody that responded specifically to that? Oh, Brandy says, I also want a more competent base to pull from to put myself out there if others take advantage. Yes. Okay. And a question about how do I attend to the transcendental meditation? Okay. We'll get to those a little bit later. So that's a sense of an online learning experience. And Catherine, you transferred in, right? So you had, what year did you start with, basically?
Yeah, well, it ended up taking me about 2 years to finish. So I came in
Mm.
with, I don't know, an equivalent, maybe a year and a half of credits. And that was a really easy process. MIU was incredible about taking in the credit that I had before and matching me up the right level that I needed to start at. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. So we make it's a very transfer friendly university. So, okay. So that's the online experience. Now we're going to have Donna speak about starting online and then moving on campus and then give us a sense of maybe how they compare or contrast.
Yeah.
Welcome. Hmm.
Hi. Um, so my experience, I started online in February, so like a year ago, a little more. And I also found MIU a few years before, and I lived outside of the States. So starting a degree and coming on campus was kind of a big step that I needed to make, and a lot of things that needed to be adjusted. Um, and I was really intrigued by the online opportunity. I knew that I wanted to go to MIU no matter what. I knew it was a very unique and special university, and I didn't find anything compared to that. I'm doing the conscious human potential degree, so that was something that I was very interested in. And I really like the consciousness-based education, the block system, all the things that were the way that the learning was structured at MIU. Um, so a few years after I found it, I just understood that I wanted to start with the online and start from there, see how it's going, and kind of like stay on my schedule. And I had a lot of things going on at home, so that allowed me to stay and be focused on those things. And having my flexibility, like a lot of things Catherine already said, but I really like that it's structured within a week. So you do have a specific pace you need to stay accountable to, but at the same time, you're completely flexible within that week to structure however you want. So if there were days when I needed to work or be with family or had different stuff going on, I could study in the evening, study in the morning, study on the weekends, like have a full day of learning or just 2 hours. And it was completely flexible, which I really like. And also the engagements that you have still interacting within students. And then I remember I think it was during the first course, the SCI course, or STC, I don't know how they call it right now, but that's a first course that everyone needs to take at MIU. And we were learning a lot of really intriguing stuff about the meditation and the effects that it has, and just the knowledge in general, which I won't go into details right now. And that's when I knew that I also wanted to experience the community on campus. And it took a while, it took me like 6 months, but I knew I wanted to come and experience that as well. So I took 6 months online and now I'm on campus. I've been here since August, so 5 months almost. And um, yeah, now I'm taking online courses as well. So I really like the flexibility of going on and off. I can learn from outside the states and continue traveling or be with my family if they need it. And I have that flexibility of having that experience of being on campus and enjoying the community and the things that they offer here. But when I'm
Hmm.
not available or it's not possible for me to do that, then I can still continue my learnings from off campus as well, which is very convenient for me.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, that helps understand. I also get the sense that with online, you have to be a little bit more self-structured. Like you have to keep yourself a pace. And I've heard from some students that they switched on campus to get more structure so that they could um, keep up easier. But I don't know, do you have anything to say about that? Whether on campus structure, how how that affects your learning
Yeah,
versus mhm.
I I knew that I'm really good with studying online before because I had taken online courses before. So I knew that's something I really enjoyed, to have my own flexibility and adjust my own schedule. And when I came to MIU, that was another reason that I wanted more of the structure and the community and learning, like
Mm,
having that schedule with more people. I really like the structure on campus because it really supports all the things that are important to me and like my wellness routine. And so first class starts at 10 a.m., which offers a lot of time to do my morning routine, my meditation, have like a normal breakfast, and get ready. And then at 10, there's a 2 hour, the first lesson is 2 hours. Then we have 1 hour at 12, a break for lunch. And then we have another 2 hours, which at the end of every lesson, also the morning lesson, also the second lesson, we have the 20 minutes of meditation that we do together as a class. I really like the opportunity for group meditations that they offer here. There are the domes. If I don't know if you're going to talk about that later.
Yeah, go ahead. Say a little bit about the domes on campus.
Um, Big structures that just facilitate group meditations for students, anyone in the community of Fairfield that wants to come and meditate in the group, which is a much deeper experience than meditating alone. It's not even something that it's hard to experience and describe in words, the experience that you get from meditating in a group. And especially in the domes, the energy is very, very unique and strong. And that I think that's one of my favorite things to be here on campus and in Fairfield. That's not something that you can get from any other place in the world, with all the benefits of studying online, which I'm a big fan of.
Yes. Yeah. That's good. That
Yeah.
gives us a sense of the benefits of on campus. Yeah, the community support and especially a meditation practice, which many
Yeah.
people need support with to establish. But okay, so let's shift to on campus culture. So Luna, let's start with your experiences on campus and give us a sense of that block experience. And did you have 5-day weeks or 5.5? Mostly.
Weeks of what?
Oh,
Mhm.
sorry. Like each week, did you have 5 days of class, or did you also have Saturday projects ever? Saturday mornings?
Yeah, so my classes were mainly 5 days a week. Some of them we had to come in on Saturday to take like a test or a weekly quiz, but for the majority of my classes, they've all been 5 days a week. I came to MIU during the end of COVID, and so to have an on-campus experience where people were being social was like extremely valuable at that time.
Sure.
And I just felt that experientially, I came from a huge state school, University of Illinois, and transferred. And I was taking most of my classes online there and just realized that my own learning style is very like experiential, and it's driven by like relationships and thought-provoking conversations. And so I felt that I really needed to have the on-campus in-person experience in the classroom to get the most out of my learning. And since then, it's been about 3 years of on and off school. I've just learned a lot more about my learning style, and being able to go between both online and in person has been really valuable for me, because sometimes I really need that inward self-guided approach to learning. So for example, last semester I took 2 courses online, cinematography and video editing, where Amin was actually my teacher. And those were incredible classes. It was my first time doing online. And this was a very unique opportunity where they were both kind of together. They were like paired together. And so I felt that I was kind of in one class. And we also had the opportunity to have in-person workshops and meet with other students who were in the class and get together and practice together. And so to have that like creative freedom in my time, in my day, and then also get the in-person like experience of like applying my knowledge was just like really amazing. Um, yeah, I don't know what else
Got
to
it.
say.
No, that's good. That gives us a sense of the different kinds of learning styles that are accommodated in online versus on campus. But yeah, you can see that some of these classes have, like some of the departments, like the cinematic arts and new media, they've learned how to create more of a hybrid. So the online and the on campus actually feel like one cohort. So good point to address. So let's move to Rock and tell us, well, why your degree in particular was necessary to be on campus. And
So hello everybody. My name is Rock. I'm a sustainable and regenerative living major. So for me and this specific program, it's been really important to be in person. A lot of what we do is super hands-on, like building tiny houses, building natural houses. We've taken field trips out to different eco villages and stayed overnight at places. And so being in person for the Sustainable and Regenerative Living program or the Regenerative Organic Agriculture program, I feel is very valuable. Another aspect of the block system, which is the one class per month, it allows you to be able to for in-person classes, it allows you to be able to go on field trips and do stuff that you wouldn't be able to do at other kind of traditional style colleges. And so for me, I've found that super valuable. Um, it's a lot about the structure for me too. Like not only is this degree program very on-campus oriented, but for me personally, I was seeking like community. I was at a place in my life where I just didn't feel like I had so many people around me that were aligned in the same energy. And coming here, like I know that it can be difficult for people to make the move to Iowa of all places, but being here around these people is so valuable and so worth it. Like I have made so many lifelong friends and connections that are going to open doors for me in the future that you can't really put a price on that. And so for me, coming here and being in person was 1,000% the right choice. I'm also very socially involved in like clubs and student government and stuff as well. And so these were all things that were important to me in, factoring my decision to come in person. I've also, because of the flexible schedule, like this past January, I was able to take an online course and I spent a couple weeks in Mexico. So there's definitely, to be able to balance that has been super helpful for me. I'm also planning next semester to take that semester off for travel, and it will be my senior year next year, so I will be able to work on my senior project. And I'm going to use the opportunity to be online then to travel, get real world experience while also working on my senior project and preparing for graduation.
Yes, that's awesome. So that's a cool way to use the online experience, senior project, and then allowing you to really get a lot more creative and not be restricted to on campus. That's great. I like that you emphasize the community aspect. Um, so to that point, I'm going to go to Professor Amikwe there. So with online, how do you create a cohort or sense of community? What are some strategies you've used? And then while you're doing it, maybe you could touch on some strategies for integrating online on campus.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. This is fabulous. This is really fun. Basically, an online, like what you're seeing here is kind of like how we run webinars, basically. You have, like somebody guiding the discussion, and then you have webinars once a week. Some programs do twice a week. But just before I go into that question, I just wanted to give like an overview of what happens on campus, what happens online, so that very practical, so that we're all on the same page with it. So on campus is on a block system, what we call a block system. So you just take one class every 4 weeks. That's all you're doing. Morning to evening homework, you're living and breathing that one subject. And classes are from 10 to noon, 1 to 3, as Dana mentioned. So then it's like a fully immersive experience. And usually you're with a cohort that starts and kind of moves together in that cohort through multiple classes as you move in along. There's 4 courses in the fall semester. There's a January block, and then there's another August and February are shorter blocks. We call it the Forest Academy. It's like mostly to deepen the meditation experience and have classes linked to consciousness a bit more. And then there's also 4 courses in the spring, like four 4-week modules. So in a full academic year, you could be taking August and then 4 months worth of courses. And then you have winter break, and then you take a January course, which is kind of like a floater type course. February, 2 weeks, and then you have 4 months. So hopefully this kind of gives you like the big overview. The way it happens online is that every 2 months, every equivalent to an on-campus block, you take 1 course, and that course will last 8 weeks, and it will be a part-time course. So then if you want to be a full-time student online, what you do is you double up. You take 2 courses at the same time. You're still studying in your own pace. You're still kind of like moving through your schedule as an online student would, but you will have responsibility for 2 courses. Like when I mentioned earlier, something we've been doing in the Cinematic Arts and New Media program is we're seeing, okay, well, if we're going to do this online thing, how do we combine classes that fit really nicely with one another, where the skills that you learn in one transfer to the other and you're kind of going back and forth? So we found naturally cinematography and video editing, you learn to film and edit. These courses are working combination very well together. This semester, for example, in May and June, we have creative songwriting and digital music production. One is more software-based and one is more creative-based. So you're writing songs, but you're also learning to compose and put things into a software. So hopefully this kind of gives everybody like a little bit of an overview. The flexibility of MIU and the beauty of it is, in the most ideal situation, is you're moving between on-campus and online every semester, let's say. But like in the case of Rock, Dana, Muna, who live on campus, you can literally take September and October, you can take it on a block system, right? Like you take 1 class in September, 1 class in October, and then November, December, you're like, I want to travel, I want to get out of the cold, whatever it is. Then you can switch to online and you can still continue November, December, taking 2 classes at the same time within your major, or you can take classes like writing classes and things like that. So there's that level of flexibility is like, if you boil it down to the granular thing, it's every 2 months you could decide, you can choose your own adventure. It's a little bit harder if you live outside of Fairfield, if you try to do that, because then housing and all of those things come into account. But if you live in Fairfield or are an on-campus student, it's like beautiful flexibility there. So hopefully this answered the question.
I've been taking some notes. Yeah, I think there is that new policy point that minimum of 2 credits on campus allows you to still continue.
Correct.
With the housing.
Yes. If you take 2 credits, which is basically the August block, which in some ways you want to take the Forest Academy, what we call Forest Academy, you want to take it in person because it's like 1 class where you dive deeply. You have like an ability to do a TM retreat where you get to meditate together in a group, more meditations together in group, and you take some topics linked to consciousness. It's so nice to have that in a cohort with live people in person. You're like eating with them, you're meditating with them and all of that. And then if you do a minimum of 2 credits, you have the ability to live on campus and take all your classes online as well. So you qualify for housing as well.
Okay, well, based off of all that, what do you think would be a good question to put to our panelists?
Oh yeah, good.
Yeah.
So I think, I have a question about the meditation and the consciousness-based aspect. Maybe Catherine is raising her hand. So was that what you were going to talk about, Catherine?
Yeah, that's totally it. I was just going to say that there were some beautiful opportunities online to connect with richness of the meditation world happening in Fairfield. Specifically, there were retreats. So I think I took every retreat that was offered. Every weekend that they had one, I could Zoom in, and it took maybe 3 hours in the morning on Saturdays. I was in my home. I was able to learn the yoga sequence that goes along with meditation. I was guided through my own internal experience, beautifully held, and then I could go into the rest of my day. So that was important to me. I almost feel a little jealousy hearing about all the beautiful things happening on campus and in Fairfield in regards to community and meditation. But the university did a beautiful job of making sure that was really available to me as a remote student too.
I wonder if it would be interesting to hear about then why you chose Fairfield, which is interesting because you finished the degree, came here for graduation, and then decided to move here. Would you say there's sort of a flavor of MIU in Fairfield, or is it completely different?
Yeah, so I finished my degree program, like Karen said, and came for graduation in person and ended up moving to Fairfield. And I've completely fallen in love with Fairfield. I just think it's the best place to be in all of Southeast Iowa. And there's a real hum in Fairfield. Like you can feel it when you get into the town. There's a lot going on in lots of different levels here. And I have got to attend some in-person retreats as well on campus. Those have been rich, and there is a whole nother level that comes in when you get to be in a room full of people. And I think maybe there's ways for online students to come on campus during program to experience that as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Basically, if you're an online student, the on-campus is also your resource. And Catherine's continued to host community space in Fairfield, and which is really nourishing to some of the students as well. A very different kind of interaction through the sound clinic. So, okay, I was tapped. Muna, did you have something to add?
Yeah, I also wanted to talk about the consciousness aspect of the education, and specifically the consciousness-based education model, and how the whole school is really centered around growing the capacity of the individual to their own fullest potential. And so it's really taking you as a whole person and growing you with like your values, your inner experience, just the way you want to live. And I find that the longer I have lived here, the more I've realized that the life that I'm living right now is really the life that I want to be living in general, which is like not a typical like university experience where people are like, I'm gonna go and get a degree so that I can go and live the life that I want to live. Where I feel like being in Fairfield, being at MIU, and being part of this community, my degree is regenerative agriculture, and so I'm like growing food and learning how to grow food and being outside with other people and like-minded individuals, and then being able to have a very rich like Fairfield community life and MIU community life, and live in an environment where basically anyone you bump into and talk to will have a depth of consciousness and be able to go into some rabbit hole of, you know, esoteric knowledge or personal experience or, you know, richness of that level is like very hard to find out in the world, nonetheless at a university. And so although I love doing the online and on campus like options, I feel like living in Fairfield is like non-negotiable for me, and like having this as a home base while I'm learning, and then being able to go and travel and like be in the world to have that experience, expand my perception, and then come back here and integrate it. I also wanted to say I just took a forest block course that Donna was on with me. It was on Mother Divine for 2 weeks, which is where you're just with women at this retreat center north of Fairfield, and all of your meals are um, prepared for you, organic. You don't have to worry about anything cleaning or like work or school. You kind of just get to enter this like bubble of nourishment and go deep into your consciousness and get this really, really deep rest and have your attention on the Vedic knowledge, which gets just enlivened in you and like is like, that's a whole nother amazing feature of MIU. And I feel like that sets me up for the rest of my semester, being able to be really deep and feel like full, instead of feeling like tired and then going into class and feeling like school becomes a burden. I really feel like I'm a sponge at that point after getting that much rest. I'm just like, I want to learn everything. I want to like create and grow and be around people. And so that's a really beautiful experience too.
I think you're speaking to, this aspect of you can choose how far you go down the Vedic or the consciousness of the meditation. On campus, you're going to get a lot more of that than online. So when you come on campus, you'll find some people that are really into long meditations. They do things like the Mother Divine program, Purusha. Online, it's, you really can customize that a little bit more. It's your choice. If you want to do online retreats, if you want to do immersive retreats, just understand that the university is part of this whole global organization called the Transcendental Meditation Organization. So it's really however much you want to go. At the minimum, we ask everybody to learn the particular meditation technique. It's called Transcendental Meditation. And once you are accepted as a student, you can learn for free at any TM center. So that's one of the benefits of enrolling. And yes.
Jumping off of what Uno's saying, what you're saying, Karen, is that what does it mean to say consciousness-based education? It means that we put you, the student, the learner, the person that's in front of us as the priority. Allowing you to grow from within is like the number one priority of this university. And then when you grow from within, then you discover who you are, what your passions are. You discover the creativity, the intelligence, the joy, the joy of living. And then you take on a subject and you study in and you go deeper into it and you bring more of yourself into it. That's the essence of what this university is about. So whether it's online or on campus, we're constantly, I've been in countless faculty meetings, staff meetings, like the discussion is, how do we offer the students the maximum capability for them to get many opportunities for them to explore who they are and bring out that consciousness from deep within and apply it into whatever subject we're studying. It's set up that way. So if you're on campus, you're online, just know that, this university is set up to support that aspect of your education, basically.
Beautiful. That's almost a nice wrap up point, but I just wanted to see if Brock or Donna wanted to give any closing remarks. Don't have to, but Brock?
Yeah.
It looked like
Donna? Okay.
You want to go?
Go ahead.
I just wanted to add that also on the online platform, there's a lot of discussions where you have to comment on your classmates' posts as well, or like the assignments, and that also really drives discussions and deepens the discussions between your classmates. So it's not like completely solitude and you go like you're on your own and you just run on the material. And the thing that I liked the most about the online studying was that when I was in on campus and I'm taking class on campus, then I find that I need to be with the same pace as my class. And when I'm online, I have the ability to go deeper if I want to, or less deeper if I don't want to. And like I can adapt it more to my interests. And that was like the thing I think I like the most. I could find myself like spending two times like 20 hours a week on a course or a topic that was super interesting for me, and just even sitting with friends and watching the Maharishi videos and getting into like deep discussions with friends that aren't even like from the university. And so like choosing how much I want to deepen into that online was very, I think that's like my favorite thing about it.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, that there's a little more customization and you
Yeah,
can choose how deep, how much to engage.
yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, thank you. And Rock, any final points?
Yeah, I didn't have much else to say. I mean, I think we covered it. I think, no
Mm,
matter what your life looks like now, there's different options that you can puzzle together, a way that this could fit into your schedule, whether that's online, on campus, bit of both, living here, living somewhere else. But yeah, all around, like this place has changed my life for the better. And I have, made some incredible connections, people of all ages from all over the world. And for
mhm.
me, that's been life-changing. So yeah, that's my final
Thank
thought.
you. Yeah, and that's true. There, we do live up to the Maharishi International University. It's you walk to the cafeteria, you're going to hear a lot of languages, a lot of cultures. Um, and to me, that really adds to creating a safe community, the diversity. So, all right. Well, we're going to move to practical points. I wanted to start with Teresa. Do you want to add any perspectives from the admissions office in terms of guiding that process online versus on campus?
Yeah, I think that our online programs have grown tremendously since COVID, of course. And it really depends on what your priorities are. On campus is a great immersive experience, like we discussed, for the community, the support, and just being really fully immersed in the culture. And I think if you're more interested in, working remotely, being able to have the flexibility of working on your assignments, within the deadlines kind of flexibly, then online is really the best option. And you do have those discussion boards as part of your regular assignments. So you're interacting with your classmates. Your professors also have office hours just like they normally would on campus too.
That's true. Yes. So there's quite a direct availability of professors. It's not like they set up the course and it's running on its own. There'll be interactive webinars. So yeah. And there's a question about middle-aged individuals getting back into learning. There are a lot of students of all ages. There does seem to be a higher age online, but um, on campus, I've also seen people coming after um, not just a career change, but a paradigm shift. So because of the topic, consciousness-based education, people start Googling consciousness and our university shows up. And I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with incoming groups about a pivotal moment where they realized it's not just about a degree, but they needed to change their paradigm. And the university allows you to reset and think about depth. Like how am I going to set up my foundation for the next part of my life? And Muna was talking about that. It's not just a degree program. You're here to establish a new perspective and make sure you're in alignment with your highest path. And there's so much of that theme woven into classes. Even a business course will have these elements of, staying true to yourself. So with that kind of model, you're going to see incredible life stories, and everyone has a story of how they found NYU. I think that's why the conversations are immediately so deep and profound. Everybody's ready to share insights and to reflect, to grow, to change. And so, yeah, you come out and on the other side of the degree program, you're living in a different way. So just wanted to speak. I love that point that Muna brought up. So now we're going to attend to our final wrap-up points and close out. We talked a bit about the transfer credits, so I don't need to say too much about that, except that we have a very generous transfer policy up to 90 credits. That's how you can end up with someone coming in and finishing their undergraduate degree in 2 years. And we've mentioned these 3 degree options. Again, we started as on campus, but we're like primarily online right now. And yet there's also this new emerging trend of hybrid. Hybrid means either you started on campus and integrated online, or it means that people are still online, but they moved to Fairfield and are able to use some of the awesome resources on campus. And Fairfield is a small town in Southeast Iowa, but it has its own vibe. Very international, strong arts culture, strong healing arts community. So very supportive. And then you see that more than 90% of the university students receive extensive financial aid. And we're just pointing out that every web page will have the apply button to make it super easy to fill out your application. Our next entries are April, deadline tomorrow. It's for online undergraduate programs only. And then August, all programs are available, undergraduate and graduate. So we have many ways to interact to get a sense of how you want to move forward. This is our interactive webinar, and every 2 weeks, we have a different theme. Some are specific to degree program, and others like this one are very generic topics. You can also request to set up a meeting with a professor. And then we also have these things called Visitors Saturday. We can come in person and check out the campus. PM.org is our website for starting the Transcendental Meditation technique. It's a 7-step process, a little mini course. And it's recommended that you learn Transcendental Meditation before becoming a student. It's just a nice way to start priming yourself for this in-depth development of consciousness experience. But don't worry, like if you don't manage to get it in, you'll have time to learn Transcendental Meditation during your first class, Exploring Consciousness, and they'll help you set it up. Okay, so for webinar replays, you can catch other topics we've addressed. You can follow that QR code, and there will be a whole website of past webinars. So we hope to interact with you one way or another. There's so many ways to be a part of our community. You could also learn Transcendental Meditation, just come for a retreat or learn an advanced technique. So we're going to close out the webinar, but we'll stay online for a few minutes to address any remaining questions. And if we didn't get to all of your questions, well, feel free to interact with us through email or an admissions counselor. And we hope to see you soon. So thank you to our panelists. Thank you so much for your time. And I'm going to just check the chat to see. So yeah, so we'll stay on for a few minutes.
I forgot to mention one thing, is the low residency model as well. There's plenty of programs at MIU, especially on the MFA level, where it's low residency, where you study almost everything online, but then you do come to campus for in-person workshops for like 10 days or so. I think they do that in Ayurveda as well. Like you study everything online, but then you come for practical training in person. I think that's also like a very important model to keep in mind with the online and in the in-person discussions, the low residency model that exists. I think the art MFA has that, the David Lynch MFA in screenwriting. We're launching a documentary MFA in social transformation, and it will be low residency as well. And then, like I said, Ayurveda and some other programs are adopting this low residency model.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, panelists, thank you so much for your time. And you're welcome to hang around or take your leave and enjoy the rest of your Saturday.